Things have been incredibly quiet on the Pokemon Legends ZA front for the Nintendo Switch and potentially even Nintendo Switch 2, but we did get some new information in the line of a rumor that seems like it could be real. Now, we're going to talk about the next Pokemon Presents that's supposedly going down on September 26th and what we could see at that event. There is a pretty big Pokemon news site that covered this, and I wanted to talk about that. We also have some updates on the Nintendo Switch 2 and what we could see from those leaked prototypes and all that. We got some people that are confirming some things, and I also wanted to add a little bit of an extra layer about what I've heard about the system. But before we get into all that, what's good, everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, and click that notification bell to get my Nintendo Switch RPG content, live streams, and more first. And let's go ahead and jump right into the Pokemon Legends ZA news. Shoutouts to Soul Silver Art on Twitter. He covers a lot of Pokemon stuff. He also has a podcast as well, Hidden Power, where they did talk about a potential Pokemon Presents and the information that we're going to go over as well. So let's go ahead and jump into that information first. So definitely take it with a grain of salt, but I will add that we've ridiculously gotten a lot of information randomly from 4chan when it comes to what's happening with Pokemon. We definitely got some information with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet in terms of the DLC from 4chan. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee were pretty much leaked on 4chan as well. So there is a little bit of a history of course, fake stuff when it comes to Pokemon on 4chan, but some actual real leaks before Nintendo talks about it or the Pokemon company talks about that. So let's go ahead and jump right into just the Pokemon Legends ZA stuff. There's a bunch of stuff about the Pokemon Sleep, Pokemon Masters, Pokemon Go, Pokemon Pocket, all of that. I'll have the links, or I'll put up the actual screenshot for you guys so you guys can see some of that. But we're going to focus in on the Pokemon Legends ZA information. So it says that Pokemon Legends ZA, there's going to be a new trailer revealed, and this Pokemon Presents is on September 26th. And the starters shown are going to be Snivy or Snivy, Totodile, and Chimchar. Now the gameplay will be the main character running through the city, accepting quests off NPCs, different customization, battling wild Pokemon in the outskirts of the city, catching Pokemon, talking to the main characters too. It's more of a quick, snappy trailer showing off information for the game in small 3-second bursts, if that makes sense, with new music playing in the background. The end of the trailer reveals you about to battle a new Mega Pokemon known as the one of the boss Pokemon. It's a Mega Shiftry in a forest located just outside the main Lumois town. Release date not revealed, still says 2025. So they also added that that's all the Pokemon news until February 2025. Hoping my source can get me some information for that too. So what they detailed here, or this post detailed, wasn't anything that felt like it could be too crazy or out of bounds. Now, Soul Silver, who once again covers all of this a lot, has over 40K plus on Twitter as well, stated this: "We covered this 4chan rumor in this bonus podcast. After yesterday's Pokemon Pocket news, people were thinking this could be real, but the reasoning for that has since been debunked. Still, this is almost reasonable enough to be considered. So for fun, would you like this starter lineup?" And he's talking about Pokemon Legends ZA. "I don't like Chimchar, but if it means we get something new for the other two, I'm so down. I would literally use both Snivy and Totodile in my team if possible. Let's see if any of this pans out." So shout outs to Soul Silver Art and of course his Hidden Power podcast, where they did discuss it in full. And I do want to talk about the potential in terms of what we could see with Pokemon Legends ZA. They've been incredibly tight-lipped about this game. In the Nintendo Switch era, I have never seen the Pokemon Company and Nintendo announce a major Switch game and not talk about it or show gameplay right there at the reveal or shorter in a time frame. Essentially, all they gave us was that first CG trailer for this game where we saw Pikachu running in the city and it kind of being formed and everything, and we knew it was Lumois City, and okay, that's awesome, but that was it. We didn't get any other information outside of it's coming to Nintendo Switch and it's going to be in 2025. Usually with Pokemon Legends Arceus, with the Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, pretty much every single other Pokemon game, even Pokemon Sword and Shield, they actually had a gameplay trailer right there or information for us shortly after the reveal. Or usually with Switch games, it's right there. You see something, even if the footage is rough and it doesn't look that great, which Pokemon games, we get that a lot, they still show us something. This time, they're intentionally not showing us the game. Clearly, they have something, or they could have something to show us, but they're not. And the influence for that, for me at least, was it kind of came back to what happened with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. There was a lot of debate and discussion, and I would say critical feedback that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet was just not up to the standards from what we've seen from other major Switch games. It's not up to the standards to where the Pokemon Company could have a game, and of course Nintendo standards when it comes to open world or bigger games, big first party titles. And I think that we can all agree upon there are major issues with that. Now, Andy Robinson from VGC stated that he has heard information directly that they really listened to that feedback, and they're going to be implementing that for the next games. This could be the start of that. Now, once again, could be. Not saying that it's going to be, but I think them not showing the game and making sure that it's in its state to where it's going to look its best, because first impressions are definitely a thing. You've got to make sure that you make this first impression, especially after the debacle with the graphics and the performance of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. You can't come out here and have another game where it looks super rough and looks like it runs bad. Now, Pokemon Legends Arceus did run good for the most part on the Nintendo Switch, with a few issues here and there, but overall it actually ran a lot better consistently than Scarlet and Violet. Now, the graphics weren't the best, but at least it ran consistently. So I feel that they are iterating on that Pokemon Legends gameplay. They're going to take what worked, they're going to throw away what didn't work, and if they really kind of downsize a little bit and stop trying to be this massive game maybe that they can't do, and really make it more of an experience to where, hey, when you're in a certain area, it's focused on that area, outskirts of town. Don't make it to where there's all this different stuff there that you can go to and it just looks terrible. But if you can focus in on what would make the game really good, I think that you can get that better performance and you can get the better looks, visuals with the Nintendo Switch hardware, compared to them trying to make their version of Breath of the Wild with Scarlet and Violet, or them trying to make their huge open world RPG that they clearly quite aren't good enough to do at this point. I personally feel that this could be true. We haven't had a Pokemon Presents in a while. We're due for some new Pokemon news. We didn't get anything at the last Direct that Nintendo had, and they haven't stated anything since they announced Pokemon Legends ZA. So it's been months of nothing shown, and I think that this could happen. But once again, could be incorrect. You guys never know with 4chan rumors, and I don't cover them a lot, but once again, in this instance, because of what Soul Silver Art had to say, in addition to there being leaks before that we've covered that ended up being true with Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, other Pokemon games, I decided to cover this one. But what do you guys think about this? I think this could happen. I think that if this trailer turns out to be what it is, I think that it could look really good and it can play really good. I think Pokemon Legends Arceus is the best Pokemon game on the Nintendo Switch, and I think that this is going to be a great follow-up to that, where they kind of innovate and do more things on that gameplay. Now, let's move on to the next Nintendo Switch 2 stuff, which I guess is a little bit in conjunction with potentially having a Pokemon Legends ZA Nintendo Switch 2 version. But there was an article that we covered the other day talking about the rumored prototype images for the Nintendo Switch 2. It showed a pretty massive tablet. We had a video from someone who actually showed it off in 3D printing, and it looked really large. But at the same time, it looks like that could be what the Nintendo Switch 2 looks like. Maybe not completely, like 100% final design, but similar. Now, in this article, we went over on My Nintendo News, there was the leaks. But now we have a few updates, 3 updates to be exact. Let's go over the first one from a source that I actually really respect, and that's VGC. So VGC Andy Robinson, he states that these leaked Switch 2 images line up with the final design Nintendo partners were shown. So where did VGC Andy Robinson get his sources from? Well, obviously that'd be probably a European developer based on where he's at. He's been pretty accurate on some of his other stuff, and he's also been one of the first, or one of the, I would say, reasonable ones to cover the Matrix demo, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild on Switch 2 hardware, in terms of what developers were shown, the performance of what it could do. So I do believe that there is some information that he's gotten here, and that it does match up with some of these leaks based off of all of this stuff that we're seeing here. Update number 2 is that the leaked PCB has X6 printed on it, which matches the code for an earlier Switch 2 prototype. Now, to me, not quite as strong as having it from someone like Andy Robinson, but it's still an update, and if it does match, then it seems like there is, I would say, enough breadcrumbs, right? There is enough smoke to kind of connect it to where the fire is coming from. So if you're matching it to different things and it's lining up right, obviously you've got a lot of people that are saying, hey, this is real. You have supporting evidence. It makes it more likely that this is actually real when it comes to the leaks. Now, update number 3, which I don't really know too much about this person, so this one to me might be the weakest of them, but Necro Lipe, Brazil, has now claimed that the Switch 2 leak is legit. So we've got 2 people claiming, insiders or people covering it, claiming that. Then also some physical evidence with the whole PCB X6 printed, which matches what we've seen before. So that's enough for me to actually make a video talking about it and discussing it, to where it does feel like the Nintendo Switch 2 leak that we did get is happening. Now, with these leaks happening, I've stated this before, I'll state it again here, that means that we're getting close. It is getting very close to when Nintendo's going to reveal this system. This happens all the time with various different hardware that Nintendo's had. This has happened before in the past, but Nintendo has taken a really long time in order for them to actually state what this next system is going to be. Usually in the past, we would get something by now, especially if it's proposed that it's going to launch sometime in 2025. We would get something by now at this point, even if it's them just talking about it multiple times, not necessarily in investor meetings, but saying, hey, the next system is coming. But it's a little bit different with this one. You have the Nintendo Switch that's clearly doing still well. I mean, yes, it's not selling like it used to sell, but it's still selling pretty well, and software's still selling. So they have no rush to really sit there and say, okay, let's rush into this next thing and get people confused on what's happening. They can take all their time, and they can set everything up, and they can have the smoothest transition that Nintendo has probably ever had when it comes to a next generation system. A lot of them have been really rough. They've been kind of buckshot. They've just been kind of like, all right, here's the next thing. Okay, we don't have anything for the next year, but wait for it, it's coming. And that approach has been proven to be not necessarily the most effective. I think that the most effective, obviously, would be to discuss, talk about it, and go over closer to launch, 5 to 6 months, maybe even shorter if you can, but somewhere between then, and make sure that you have the actual software ready for a lineup of games, and make sure that you have your set talking points ready. Make sure that you have everything ready in order for this system to take off. The Nintendo Switch was the blueprint and key. Now, obviously, another big key is making sure that you have a hybrid system that has all of your games on there. I think that's the biggest key, is that having all your games like Pokemon and Fire Emblem and Animal Crossing, games that are multi-million sellers, some of them massive sellers that help move systems, having that all on one platform will definitely help you sell. Having everything on one platform and making sure that you get all of those big selling games, those big system sellers, is the key. And that's why I feel that regardless of what happens here, there could be some fumbles here and there. Obviously, nobody's perfect, and Nintendo's definitely not. But I think that having all those games, when you have those titles that all come out for that one platform, you're going to get at least a marginal success overall. Like, look at the Nintendo 3DS. It didn't get everything because obviously Wii U has some games, but it got a lot of stuff, and it ended up doing 75 million plus, which is not the best in the world, but still not terrible, not the worst either. So I think that with the Nintendo Switch having everything, that's pretty much the low bottom line, as long as they cross all their T's and dot their I's when it comes to the system and the release schedule and the marketing and all the other things. So I do believe that these leaks seem legit. I'm not going to go 100%, but they seem legit. And I do think that we are going to get a reveal for this Nintendo Switch 2 system, probably in October. I'm guessing we're going to hear more about it after The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom comes out. So what are your thoughts on both of these topics? with Pokemon Legends ZA and the leaked Nintendo Switch 2 prototypes essentially being real, it seems like, based on all of these updates? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you are someone new, and click that notification bell to get my Nintendo Switch RPG videos and more first. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.